Alright guys, remember that card contract with the Don 1000? I was like, someone's gonna build something that makes it so your opponent cannot Yu-Gi-Oh at all. Well, this is an excellent example of this. Basically, it's a few card combo. It depends on like what you have in your hand, but for the most part, you just need to be able to summon the Hanzo and then have anti-spell fragrance set up and then Don 1000 over here. And you'll see the opponent over here, he cannot play any spells, cannot play any traps, he can't set anything, including monsters, and he cannot normal summon, which most decks at that point, they have to fold because at first, a lot of you guys were saying with contract of Don 1000, oh, you just complete your pendulum scale, just pendulum summon a bunch of monsters. Well, anti-spell fragrance plus Dark Samorg is going to be very difficult for a lot of decks to deal with. So you can't normal summon, you can't play spells or traps. And a lot of decks just kind of lose out on that. Unless you could just special summon a bunch of monsters from your hand, you're going to lose. And you can't really pendulum summon because you cannot place pendulums face down. So we got a guy over here playing them spirals over here, going for a really strange first turn play, making a Goyo Defender. Then he goes ahead and busts out the quick fix over here. I had no idea what the heck this play was going to involve. But nonetheless, he activates Maxi as soon as he sees contract with the Don 1000. He's going to go ahead and summon Hanzo from Overwatch. Going to set Ninjutsu Art of Transformation once again. Going to be making that Dark Samorg a really good card to just destroy a lot of decks. I mean, could you guys imagine this card against the Paleozoic, the Burgostomas? They couldn't even play. Like, that is a deck that's like all traps. And then there's like Maxi or, you know, other cards. But for the most part, like, that deck would just absolutely lose to this. Anti-Spell Fragrance would destroy a lot of other Pendulum decks. And most decks, like, for example, Six Samurais would be a deck where if they don't have their squad, they can't even play. Like, if you ruin the normal summon for Six Samurais, how are they even supposed to do anything? Because, yeah, that it completely destroys some decks. It's like, oh, if you control one of these monsters, just go ahead and special summon it. But nonetheless, we see a play over here. Real cheeky with the Cup of Ace over there. Extra sackiness, extra cheesy. So I would say this deck is more for trolls, but it's not that bad if you really wanted to try it. I would say you could probably pull it off maybe about half the time. It really depends on what you draw, obviously, and, you know, RNG is pretty crazy in Yu-Gi-Oh! But there's, you know, Pod Desires. There's a lot of searching in ninjas already. Like, Hanzo's a really good card. That just searches you, your transformation, just goes straight into it. Really easy stuff indeed over here. But, like, the other guy, he can't do anything. He ended up summoning ducks. He couldn't use cards of consonants because he can't set the card, therefore he cannot place it because anti-spell fragrance makes it so you have to place your spell cards before. So he can't normal summon at this point, now that contract with Don 1000. So you can't normal summon, can't use any spells or traps, your opponent cannot Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't really like this gameplay. I mean, I enjoy seeing cheese once in a while. I don't think this is going to be meta, so you guys won't have to worry about it. Unless someone figures out some other crazier combo that gets it super, super consistent. But overall, really annoying deck to face up against because you literally cannot play Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyways, I know some of you guys want to try it out, and I'll give you guys the deck profile for that. So let's go ahead and do the deck profile. And shout out to Teriyaki for that sweet replay. I mean, this just came out, and someone's already figured out, you know, how to abuse the card. I mentioned it in my video, but there's a few cards that I didn't even think about. But anyways, let's go and jump in the deck profile if you guys want to try out the deck yourself. Let's get into it. So first off, triple copies of Dark Samorg, triple copies of Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo. Keep in mind that he has the effect of when he's normal summon, he gets to add this card. So you get essentially this card for free. And then when this card is flipped or special summon, you have another effect that you can add a ninja monster from your deck to your hand, except for himself. And that's actually good because they are darks, and with Allure of Darkness at 3 in the TCG, it really helps the consistency of this deck. Next up, we have Strike Ninja. Pretty much, he is just a ninja and he's dark. The effect that he has to banish 2 darks, it's pretty much irrelevant. I wouldn't even worry too much about it, but I'll go over the effect real quick just in case randomly you might need it. So you get to banish 2 dark monsters from your graveyard, then you get to banish this face-up card until the end phase. Yeah, I wish it was once per turn during either player's, it is once per turn during either player's turn, but I wish it was like once per turn during either player's turn, you get to banish it and then like do something else. I know it comes back, but it's too weak. I feel like it's not that great. Over here we see a card called Pot of Avidity, which I think was used at one point in his build, which he was like, you know, I can use the effect of Strike Ninja, banish a bunch of cards and put them back and then draw. It's probably not really worth it because at the core, this is like one of those cheesy first turn, all or nothing kind of a deck, so it's probably not necessary at all. But next up, we have Twilight Ninja Shingetsu. So it's just another ninja that it's also a dark, plus it's warrior. Actually, all of the ninjas are warriors that I know of. But Reinforced Honor just searches out the target. But Monsters your opponent controls cannot target face-up ninja monsters for attacks except for this one, and they can't target other ninja monsters with card effects except for this one. And if it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if it's in your possession and destroyed by opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can add a ninja monster from your deck to your hand. Pretty much what you want to do is add the Hanzo over there, but you cannot add Twilight Ninja Shingetsu, and you can only use this effectively once per turn, but that's pretty much irrelevant. It just searches you out your Hanzo. And then next up, we have 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. I think this is just really dirty in the TCG to have 3 copies of Allure. It'll probably eventually get hit like, once again anyways, so just be on the lookout for that. But nonetheless, Allure is pretty good. It's a draw power with pretty much no downsides. In addition, though, going back to the Strike Ninja, though, you could try Pot of Avidity if you want to. It is a quick play, too. But nonetheless, it does give you extra banishing because all you need is Strike Ninja plus the Allure, and then you have 3 targets banished. But this essentially lets you draw only 1 card. If it was draw 2, maybe you guys can consider it. Or if you guys have any suggestions for it, you guys can let me know down below. But next up, Reinforcement of the Army literally searches every card in the deck except for a Dark Samora. Well, any monster card. You can't just, use that search for Pot of Desires. That would be pretty good. But yeah, anyway, search out pretty much anything in the deck. And then next up, we have 1 Day of Peace, so you can kind of survive. And on top of that, this is a 1-turn cheese combo deck, so it doesn't really matter what extra card your opponent has. If you anti-spell Dark Samori and have contract with Dawn 1000, they're not going to be able to Yu-Gi-Oh! As you guys saw it during the replay. It's a lockdown, shutdown, cannot Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of a deck. Next up, 3 copies of Pot of Desires. You could argue in one sense that it could be bad if you banish all your copies of Samori, but it's a cheesy deck, and the other day we were talking about running this card in Exodia just for the sake of trying to pull off Exodia with Pot of Desires. Let me know if you guys want me to make that video. It'd be really stupid and a bad idea, but I don't know, we could try it just for the sake of doing it. Just hope the RNG is on your side. But nonetheless, yeah, this card definitely good. Yeah, like I mentioned before, if you banish like all your Darkest Morgs, that would really suck. Or if you banish all of these, then you can't make some Morg anyways. But or if you banish all of these, like, yeah, it could happen. You're playing 3 copies of pretty much everything that you like need for the combo in the deck anyways, so I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Next up, this is a really cheesy deck, so he went and decided for triple copies of Pot of Ace, Cup of Ace. Even if your opponent gets to draw extra cards, yeah, it does suck. You'll probably lose, but at the same time, it doesn't matter if you pull off for combo because it doesn't matter how many cards that they have. Most decks will just fold at that point. Next up, we have Soul Charge, just so you can kind of make a comeback play. If you guys want to drop this and play like Darkwood Dealings or something like that, feel free to go ahead and do so. Because this technically doesn't really help you out turn 1 as much as other things would, but it still lets you have a comeback play if things just like somehow your opponent disrupts your play. It can be used, but I feel like for most cheese decks, you don't really need it. You guys can let me know if you guys want to cut this card for something else, and let me know what you cut it out for. And then we have Upstart Goblin and 3 copies of Into the Void. It again is a cheese deck, first turn or nothing for the most part. And then we got 3 copies of Ninjutsu Art Notebook. So once per turn, you can set a ninja monster from your hand to the graveyard to set 1 Ninjutsu Art Spell and Trap card directly from your deck, except for Ninjutsu Art Notebook. So that allows you to get rid of your ninjas and then just go straight for this, and then you guys can maybe use use of another ninja instead of going for the Hanzo. Usually the ideal play is to open up with Hanzo first turn. But next up, we have the card that makes everything possible for this cheesy deck, Contract with Dawn 1000. So basically, you just activate it, and then both players lose 1,000 life points. And then if they do, remember that part is important, then they draw 1 card, and then they reveal the card they drew by this effect. And then they all cards they draw while this card is face up on the field, keep those cards revealed, and then while a player is revealing a spell card by this card's effect, that player cannot normal summon or set. You can only activate 1 per turn, but I mean, it would be nicer if you could activate multiple. I feel like this card is kind of like a copy of Chicken Game. I don't know if you guys remember, it was Chicken Game, right? Is it Chicken Race? I think that, okay, Chicken Game is what they call it in the TCG, but it's very similar. Like, you activate it, you lose 1,000, but this one's kind of like better in the one sense because it has like all these other effects that your opponent can choose to activate. But this one makes it so they can't normal summon, potentially. Obviously, you're going to be running it in cheesy decks, but I feel like it's very similar. I don't know, maybe this card will get banned. Chicken Game was a very, very cheesy kind of card. If this card was like at 3, like this deck would be even better. But next up, we got Anti-Spell Fragrance, part of the lockdown for the deck, so they have to set spell cards, and that's why earlier you saw one of the guys that was playing Dragonides, he wasn't able to activate the card of consonant, send Phalanx to the graveyard to summon ducks, go for Phalanx. I think he really should have put the other card in the back. But I'm wondering, like, I'm pretty sure, like, since it's equipped, that works, right? Like, I don't know, maybe that's why he decided to summon ducks first, but it doesn't really matter at this point. But, I don't know, I'm pretty sure, like, equipped would be different because it's equipping it as a monster. I don't know. You guys let me know how that would work. Like, because of anti-spell, can you still equip the Dragoonity monster? Because they're treated as spells. I really don't know. But, and then lastly, we have 3 copies of Ninjutsu Art of Transformation. So that's for your Hanzo over there. So when you activate this, you tribute a piece of ninja monster to special summon Dark Simorg. You can summon other things, but for the most part, it's Dark Simorg or nothing. Well, in this version of the deck. But anyways, that is a lockdown, guys. So hopefully you can open up with the ideal hand. Let me actually move this. Is just to go for this, set this. This you get for free, so you don't worry about that. And then you have Dawn 1000. So it's basically like a 3-card combo, and obviously there's a lot of draw power in the deck for consistency and stuff like that. So it's basically a 3-card lockdown. Again, you get this card for free anyways when you summon the Hanzo. So yeah, that is the deck, guys. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions for this or any other combos with Dawn 1000, because it's a very cheesy card, and I can foresee this card potentially getting banned if someone figures out a more cheesy version of it, or if it just becomes a problem. I remember people were complaining about Chicken Game for a long time, and then Konami put the ban hammer on that card. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys give a like button, a titty slap, and hit that subscribe button for more RuneScape content.